Welcome back to the second episode of The Opinion Piece with Mark Reynolds. Back again. We try to keep the first episode to the usual 10 to 15 minutes, but when you got someone in like Mark who shares, I'm delighted to say, similar views to me, we could probably talk for hours. So let's see how we get on with this episode on industry, image and licensing. Mark, welcome back. How do we improve the image of construction? Because we talked about it before we came in. I believe we're highly skilled individuals, from white collar to blue collar, craftsmen, etc. But we haven't got that image generally in society. Is that a big ask to get that changed?
I think it goes back to leadership, to be honest. And if I compare projects today to where they're in the 80s, there's no comparison. If I compare, the uniform that we all kind of accept now on major projects, the 5-point PPE, tabards, gloves, glasses, boots, ear defenders and things like that. The people feel a pride in wearing that. I'm not sure at the micro end people do feel that.
I think in reality, the micro end, most don't wear it.
No, they don't.
Let's be open and honest.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs we did when you brought in extra lad subbies, can go in.
Yeah.
All these different, and it's the fine dusty. We won't talk about it, but
yeah. You got to want people to understand it's not doing them any good.
Yeah.
And I do think the more that we can help train, again, I think that goes back to the curriculum that we put forward. We've got to train people to present themselves in a way that keeps them safe, keeps them healthy, going forward. So when the curriculum needs to embed that into it. So that's number one. I think, I go back to my father had a roofing contracting company. I observed it. He bought them sweatshirts. They all went to work, with their sweatshirts, the green sweatshirts with the like P&R roofing badge on it. People loved it. They went in there. His vans were always clean. He didn't clean them. His guys used to clean the vans. It's an image thing. So, did they wear all the tools and that? They always wore gloves because they got their hands burnt. So that's from a practical point of view that they wore gloves. So I do think there are things that we need to impress on people they need to do as they go through their trade. So, there's a lot of work still to be done. But also it's about what we create at the end. That's the thing that I'm passionate about is when you finish a new home, when you finish a kitchen, you finish a bathroom, take a photo, share it. Someone's going to be paid for that. They want it to look good. And don't just take it as it's finished. Take it with some plants. Take it as it's properly used.
Yeah.
Take it with...
When it's dressed.
When it's dressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one great thing with social media. Love it, although the talks I did at Home Building Renovating Show last weekend, one thing I say is use social media to find.
Yeah.
Find a couple of local contractors you want to work with for your home. Follow them on social media, because when I was learning, God, the amount of times I said this, it was an ad in the local corner shop, or if you have proper money, quarter page in the local paper, but it costs money. Now we use Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, and with your phones as good as they are, pictures and videos.
Yeah.
Why not show your work off? Be proud.
Okay. And unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there.
Yeah. And the camera does lie. Makes me look half decent sometimes.
No, they're definitely not. But I do think that they need to be shamed. There needs to be a place where you can go and say, this is a bad actor. This person should not be employed.
That goes to licensing.
Yeah.
So I think we're quite similar in the respect that, listen, we've got to be licensed. You look at the European countries, North America, Australasia, where I worked. It's a short-term, long-term problem in my view. If we suddenly said, right, we've got to quickly get everybody licensed in some way, we could lose a big chunk. Building control, as an example. But long-term, it will protect the industry. So is there an easy way of getting us licensed? Because it's worrying in the residential market. Tomorrow morning, that woman walking down the road could be a bricklayer and turn up in your house and knock the back of the house out with no questions asked. So is it an easy way, or is it something you guys have been discussing at the CLC with government?
Again, there are mechanisms in place already. So let's just talk the you've raised CSS card. I'll come back to that. Let's deal with the first aspect of licensing. Organisationally, a corporate should be properly licensed. The corporate should demonstrate that they are, that they are complying with the law. They are paying their taxes. They're employing people correctly. They have a health and safety standard. They have a health and safety policy, and that's being reviewed. So Achilles covers that for organisations above a valley. If we could say we want everyone, you cannot get any insurance unless you're affiliated to that body or bodies that do that. You could change it overnight just by saying in the next 12 months, unless you've got this accreditation, I use Achilles as an example, you can't get insurance. Therefore, if you can't get insurance, you can't work on
bodies like NAPET, for example, electrical ones, because there's so many bodies, federations, councils. I think roofing alone is 13.
Yeah, there is, but
can we not pull them together?
They are, and a great example is the skills. So you kind of go into your skills and accreditation there. So and CSCS. So we are getting. I use again. This came out of Grenfell. We are looking at what they call Working Group 2, which is installers. So looking at how we can develop the competency of the installers. So that will be all of the installers, so like 50 trades. So we've broken that down in what we call super sector. I'll use roofing as an example. So we have roofing and envelope. The National Federation of Roofing Contractors is leading on that. They're working with organisations to develop the curriculum of skills, knowledge, experience, behaviours. And at the end of it, they get their CSS card. I'm not worried whether it's a JIB or something else. We can use an electronic card scheme, and this does work for the bigger contractors. But actually, what we need to condition people is when they're having work done at their house, is that people ask, are you insured? It's really basic things. Who you're employing, are they insured? Are they skilled? Can you trust them to do the work? And if not, where do you go?
Do you know what I think was sort of that overnight residential, a new contract?
Yeah.
So I looked at a lot of contracts, JCT and various other federation ones. My view is there isn't one that's up to date, and I hate to say it, but in English, not Greek or Latin or whatever lawyers speak in, but there's 50% protection for homeowner, 50% for contractor.
Yeah.
Short, doesn't need to be 72 pages. And things such as you can't start work until you show your insurance. Each man and woman on the job, are they a subby, are they employed? And so you actually say, we're a proper organisation. You're going to trust us to be in your home. Yeah. I think that would be a great thing. I've been fortunate to either develop or build homes for myself. And, I always put my contractor on a contract. What, you like with tea and coffee? They do that. Do they? I'd probably pay for it. It's little extras at the bottom when they're working the price out. Right, we're doing. In fact, actually, I do pay for it because I take them down to the local cafe. That should be in the contract, because we could quickly look at it. That Cowboy Builders makes good TV, but there is a small number, luckily not a huge number. Cowboy customers, residential. We talked about the ones that don't pay you, the ones that, There should be again, short claims court or whatever. There should be a quick mechanism to hold someone to account for being dishonourable. Back to that contract, I think. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Short contract, come off whether it's a trademark list or something like that. You just need to be someone who's registered. I do think the electrical trade is the one that is a good model that should be rolled out. You cannot be an electrician without a certified card. You cannot be a gas fitter without a Corgi certificate. Reason why? Gas safe, yeah. Gas safety. You kill people. Well, do you know the best example I use? Years ago, one of my lads went to look at this house because a woman smelled gas. She just had some, let's say, not so good tradespeople doing up her kitchen, not extending it, just refurbing it. And part of it was a gas hob fitted. smell gas. He went in. He said, right, can I just check your, obviously where it comes up under the stairs, Victorian house. Went in and he went, right, I think you should all get out until this is sorted. They're connected where the meter is under the stairs, under the, obviously, suspended floor, gas hob, garden hose.
Yeah.
So I think it's brilliant that we've got these, gas engineers and sparks that have got these qualifications cards and the license, but you've still got people doing that.
Yeah.
And thank God she didn't smoke. That house would have gone up.
Yeah.
So I think, that would be, getting us. We'll look at the CSCS cards on the next one. Just looking at this, I suppose being regulated as an industry and licensing, do you feel that government are very keen on this because of safety, because of companies going bust at record numbers? Or is this something more that industry wants? Because
I don't think industry wants any more regulation. I think some parts want regulation. And the question is, why do we want regulation? What we're trying to protect, what problem are we trying to solve?
I meant more residential. Apologies. I just think there's a lot of us going bust. There's a lot that's not getting paid. We're desperate for good men and women, young, old, to come because there's so much work out there. Jesus.
Yeah.
I think we've got to support the little boys and girls companies that are doing so well and good work.
But are we talking about the domestic market? Because the domestic market needs very different solutions to the major sort of house building, building volume homes.
I think it's more the domestic market because what I see is quite frightening.
Yeah, I talk from my experience of having that work done is, and because it's easy, I have a little bit of understanding of what they do. It's always making sure they've got the right environment to succeed. Do not go and cut corners. Do not get the wrong materials. Make sure it's safe. Make sure it works. Because actually, at the end of the day, it will come back and bite you. So, not doing a roof properly and it leaks, that's not helpful. Not actually doing, putting the right MEP in place or a right boiler and having it checked and certified doesn't help you. And I think there's a behavioural thing that we've got to change when people go around the homes, not saying, I can do it and you don't need to do this. Or foundation. We don't really need to go that deep. Let's just try and kill it. It's rain, so let's not bottom that out properly. We're trying to hide that to the building inspector. And you're just trying to get away with it. So it's doing the right thing, that culture that goes back into what you're trained at the beginning.
Interesting, your comment, building control. We've lost a lot.
We have.
I'm finding it amazing that the ones that didn't get the levels they wanted are now doing contract work for £120 an hour, which is kind of the flip of what we wanted to happen. We are where we are with that, is that we need to look to the future. This is my personal point. This isn't anyone else. Can we do architects? Because the amount of architects that aren't that skilled and qualified that are asking for something that can't be done now with building control, how they are, there's some huge problems.
Yeah.
Because there are some amazing architects out there, as we know, but there's a lot of dross. Can we get them regulated?
Well, they are. I mean, unfortunately, they're regulated. Not unfortunate, but they are regulated by the ROBA Code of Conduct. I think that the question is not architects, it's designers.
Sorry, that's a brilliant way of putting it. Should we stop? Yeah. Designers, yeah.
So I think designers, and this is where the Building Safety Act, you have to have a level of competency. You have to have, you need to be registered and you need to demonstrate you are skilled and competent to do that job. So I do think that, again, looking at the mechanisms that we put in place, as a contractor, as a designer, as a person who, owns and maintains the building, there are 3 levels in there, which makes it really clear under the Building Safety Act that could be expanded. The system is there to be expanded. It's a new system. It's going to take 5 years, a bit like CDM. It will take time to get embedded. But I think that is the system to look at how we can expand it in the domestic market. So that's the sort of first element, but then you've got to put that onus on the employer. You know, the person who actually pays the check, they need to have an obligation as well. Right. And again, a bit like CDM, there is an obligation on the owner to discharge that responsibility. So you either employ someone to do it or you follow the rules. You accept them to do it and you follow the rules. And if you don't, there's consequences. The consequences, you get fined or you go to jail. So I don't think it needs a lot to change it quite significantly. But there will be uproar. I mean, it won't be, because you're taking rights away from people. You're putting a burden on me that I can't go and use my mate down the road who's not qualified and just get on and do a job.
That the Asian workforce like me that have got no qualifications or paperwork.
But that, again, that is solvable. I mean, I do think that's solvable through, you know, government policy interventions. We mentioned previous about the construction skills delivery group. You know, policy interventions that give people training on boot camps really quickly. You know, and if it doesn't work for people who haven't got great reading and writing skills and great math skills or anything like that, you know, they can do it basically in their lives because they get on in life and can survive. So they must have some.
They know exactly how to knock a gauge up. They know on this particular project it's a 4-on-1 mix, and this is the amount of feb you put in.
Yeah.
So it's funny, isn't it?
They know all of that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take them long to work out.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is the digital skills. You know, that there's no doubt about it. And I look at it in a domestic market, and I use my hobby horse on how the world has changed. You know, kitchens, decking. You go into a builder's merchant now, they'll give you the design, they'll give you the bill of materials, they'll tell you how many screws you need, you know, etc. They'll do it from the bracket, screws, to the product itself, and you've just got to put it together. So I do think there is a opportunity for manufacturers to step up and really support the SMEs and micros, because they're the ones, and I think the merchants have a huge role to play in that brokerage. Yeah. So I think that connection between manufacturers, merchants, SMEs, and micros is the thing that needs to be worked on. And quite frankly, that's a relatively small supply chain when you think about it.
It is. I think the merchants, not all of them, but some of them need to come into the 21st century still signing a bit of carbon paper with your signature, and you know, one goes to the gate man, one goes to the guy behind the counter. You keep one, then you get another one in the post for your accounts. You sort of think, 2024.
But digitalisation will change that.
It will.
You know, and someone will say, ultimately, they won't be able to do their order, they won't be able to do their accounts, and their account system will come along and go, I can give you all of this all in one go. So I think digitalisation and the product, you know, whether it's QuickBooks or someone else or massive ERP system, like SAP or Oracle, you know, different companies at different scales will end up being digitized by virtue of the products that they purchase and how they manage.
And that takes us perfectly into the next episode, Training and Apprenticeships with Digitalisation. Mark, thank you for this week. So as I just said then, the third episode next week, Training and Apprenticeships. I've got a big thing on this. I can't wait to hear Mark's view that we need, as self-employed trades in the residential sector, things such as accounting, marketing, insurances, employment, law. So next week, join us for Training and Apprenticeships.